Oh my fucking god. Good morning everybody. Afternoon again, I think. Hold on. Yep, it's 20 to 1 in the afternoon. Great. Good afternoon everybody. It wouldn't be one of my videos if I didn't do that at the start of every single video I've ever put up on YouTube, but there we are. Yes, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you haven't been here already. This is a quick first impressions of the AUBL, I think that's the name of it, slash 74. Is it 74? Please tell me I've got the name right. Ugh, God. Anyway, we are reviewing this 6.7 battle rating 6.7 Italian armoured car. Or armoured scout car, or just armoured car, whichever you prefer. It's armed with a 19mm gun that gets heat FS as standard at 6.7, which means that every shell you fire is free! Yes, it's free, because you don't have to unlock it and you don't have to pay to restock it. Wow, that rhymed. Yeah. The heat FS stock shell is free to use, as far as I'm aware. I mean, first stock shell always was free to use. And this tank is absolutely fantastic, or this car, whichever you wish to, whichever term you wish to use. It's reasonably mobile, despite the fact it only has 4 wheels. It is 4-wheel drive. You're looking at speeds of around 45 to 50 kilometers an hour on grass. And the reason I say grass is because, as we know, the sort of terrain you can drive on in War Thunder varies quite a lot. Everything from grass, yeah, I don't know about that shot, but whatever. Anything from grass to mud to sand, water, rivers, etc. On sand and thick mud or snow, you're kind of looking at around 30 kilometers an hour at a push. I've found that on sand maps where there are tracks in the sand, if you drive on said tracks where there is less sand, you'll go faster. I know that sounds like a stupid thing to say, and it sounds stupidly obvious, but believe me, there are some people in the world who would, not make that realization. So, just so you know. It's worth noting at this stage that the mobility of this tank is representative of a stock tank, in the sense there are no mobility upgrades on it. I haven't got the engine, I haven't got transmission, I haven't got filters, I haven't got anything like that. So apart from the FPE, fire prevention equipment, turret rotation, speed increase and stuff like that, I don't have very many modifications on this tank, which is unusual because normally I do first impression videos when I get the FPE and the repair kit, and then I'll sort of work on doing a first impression video. I don't normally leave it this long, and the reasons it has taken me this long is twofold. First, I've actually struggled to get decent matches in this thing that would be worth putting up onto a YouTube video, but I'll go into that in more detail in a minute. And second, I actually really enjoy playing this tank, this car, this vehicle. It's fast, mobile, a little bit difficult to control at speed due to being a wheeled vehicle. The control scheme in War Thunder, especially on a controller, is not too well set up to deal with that. It's obviously based more so with tanks than anything else, though it does work. It's a little bit difficult, but it does work. The reason that I've struggled to get a video for this thing is because, as we know, those of you who've watched any of my content for any period of time really, I struggle with the fact that I'm too aggressive. Anything that's light-skinned, light-armoured, I kind of struggle with because I'm too eager to push up and get contact with the enemy, get kills, get points, get XP, get lions. Which I suppose is fine if you're in a heavy tank, like a Tiger II, or you're in a main battle tank at top tier that has reactive armour and composite armour, where you can supposedly afford to take a hit, if you angle and stuff like that. In something that can be taken out by 50 caliber machine gun fire, and at close ranges 30 caliber machine gun fire, as far as I'm aware anyway, that seems to be what I've experienced, it's not a great idea to be doing that. You can push in this tank and be reasonably effective at doing so, but you have to be really, really aware of your surroundings. So as you'll notice in this match, so far I've only fired the gun once. The recoil from the gun is absolutely insane, to be quite honest with you. But of course it's made up for that with the heat FS shell, which will basically annihilate anything you hit, especially if you hit it in the side. I tend to go for turret shots in this tank, from the side especially, because if they run away from me, that's not a problem. I can catch them. but I don't want them shooting back at me, which is my utmost concern. It's worth noting as well that just knocking out the cannon breech on this tank due to its vulnerability to small arms fire is not always enough. Make sure that the gunner is dead, because otherwise they're going to be shooting machine guns at you and they will kill you, especially if you're side on. They absolutely will kill you. I've been taken out by T-29s, T-30s, all the things that have 50 cal machine guns bristled all over them can rip you to shreds in minutes, seconds, milliseconds. And range is not a massive concern with this either. I've been killed across the map by a tank that spotted me in a bush and just let loose with his machine guns. I didn't even have time to react. So, as I said, there are ways of playing this tank aggressively, and for the majority of this match I've actually played it as a proper scout, which is, I think, the closest resemblance of how you should play this tank. However, as I said, the gun is quite good, and although you have no stabilizer, it's quite effective when you get really, really close to enemy vehicles. The recoil does knock your vehicle backwards, quite noticeably so. If you look at the little picture in the bottom left of the screen for the tank, the paper model I think is what you would call it, but you know what I mean, the diagram in the bottom left. When you fire the gun, the hull visibly moves, which is not too much of a problem on flat terrain, but when you're on a hill and you're trying to sort of crest the ridge, fire, roll back down, it can actually knock off your aim. Well, it will knock off your aim. Firing from the side gives you even more recoil. I've seen people roll this thing over because they're trying to circle strafe an enemy tank. They've got the gun 90 degrees to the one side, they're steering around the tank, they fire, they're going so fast the tank just flips. I'm going to keep calling it a tank, but you all know what I mean. The armoured car just rolls over. Although surprisingly enough, I haven't actually rolled it over myself yet. Not, you know, unintentionally anyway. I have done it just messing around, but I haven't found that to be too much of a problem so far. This thing gets around, I think it's something like 145, 146 horsepower engine. I assume that's probably a V8 diesel engine, but I can't say for certain. Stock, obviously. I've said the speed, I've said the shell. The gun is very good. You get a 90mm, as I've said, but you also get a 7.62. It's an MG30. It's an MG42 copy, I think, by the sound of it. Much like what the West Germans get on their Leopards. I have considered putting a talisman on this thing, but yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a hard vehicle to use, but I think if you were to get good at it, you'd be surprised how effective it can actually be. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, share and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and click the bell so you can see whenever I upload. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Cheers!